Now we're going to try this again, and I do apologize. Lewis, am I online? Can you?
I'm not showing you online.
You're not showing me online. Well, it says that I'm online. I don't understand what is going on with our system.
Yes,
I do
you're good.
apologize.
You're
I'm
good
good.
now.
Okay. So if y'all could rejoin us, I would appreciate it. And I do apologize about the technical difficulty, but we are in Hondo, Texas, and we just had a meet and greet here this morning. It was so nice for everyone to come out and join us and hear us for at least a little while, share our vision for where I want to take Texas for the next 4 years. So again, thank you so much. And yes, Terry, this is take 2. So we'll delete that other one. But we did not want to get on the road because there were some dead zones between here and where we're headed to next. So thank y'all for joining. And let's see, tonight we will be in San Marcos with the state, Texas State Tejanos, and looking forward to meeting with them. And then, but today we have actually been in Hondo this morning. So we got up early from San Marcos and we drove to Hondo, and then we'll be driving back after our broadcast. So again, on Ask Jeffrey Live, understand that you can ask anything you would like to ask. Just put it in the comments section, or you can email AskJeffrey@jeffrey4texas.com. And remember that the 4 in Jeffrey for Texas is the number 4, not FOR. Okay, good deal. Weird background. Yes, it's a restaurant. So we're out on the road. So this was the one place that I could sit and actually do the broadcast. So I'll work on the color and maybe I'll repaint later. Who knows? I'm not sure that they would allow me. Kimberly just joined us. Big shout out from Maine, from Mike and Kimberly. Thank y'all so much. As many of you know, I was born in Rumford, Maine, and lived there until I was about 3 years old, and then we moved to Louisiana. And this is family. So thank you for joining us. Deborah, I'm used to the car. I know. Everybody knows, I think, the entire interior of my car now. So yes, it is a weird background. Let's see. I think we're online. I'm watching Lewis is broadcasting it on his side just to make sure that we are good to go. But we are plugged in. So Joe, shout out from Kansas City. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate you joining us. Pardon me. As y'all can see, I've been doing a lot of talking. Kelly, thank you for joining, Kelly. When elected as governor, will you put into plans a program that the homeless can work around the city and pick up trash and stuff to get paid to help with housing and other stuff they may need? Will help save the city money and keep it clean. Kelly, thank you for your question. What we can do as a state is we actually advocate and work with all of the local governments, city governments, to ensure, that we are taking care of and can take care of the homeless situation in each of the cities or towns or villages that are out there. So yes, we will actively work with each and every city, because every city is going to have different needs and different solutions in order to fit those needs. So Kelly, yes, we will literally be working with and having a task force so that we can assist those cities in making sure that they are receiving the services they need from the state in which to have successful programs in helping the homeless and getting them off the streets and getting them into a roof over their head, food in their stomach, the health care they need, which includes mental health, because mental health is health care, and also providing them training if they need training so that they can be revenue generating and proud citizens of Texas again, and able to support themselves. So thank you, Kelly, for that. I appreciate that. It was just nice to meet you this morning. This is from Dana. I liked what I heard from you. Thanks for stopping in, Hondo. Best of luck. Dan, thank you so much, and it was wonderful meeting you as well, and truly appreciate you making it out this morning. Joseph, hello, candidate Payne. As a correctional officer for this great state, I would like to know if you will push for protections for transgender LGBTQIA state employees in general. Currently, we exist in a big gray area that is different from agency to agency and warden to warden. Yes, it is a big gray area because it depends on which prison you're in or which jail. So what we're going to do, what we're going to advocate for, is that we have a statewide policy so that everyone is on the same page, in the same book, and working from the same instructions on how we move forward in a positive way for anyone who is transgender or in the LGBTQ community. I'm a big advocate, of course I would be, excuse me, considering I'm part of the LGBTQ community myself. And so I believe that discrimination has no place anywhere within this state. And I mean, anywhere in the state, whether it's in the workforce, in schools, in our prison system, discrimination is not going to be allowed. And we need to make sure that we enact laws in which reinforce the anti-discrimination that we are advocating for. Joseph, I appreciate that. And yes, pardon me, when it comes to anti-discrimination bills, I will advocate for them. I will sign them into law because we all need to be working from the same page and everyone needs to be treated the same, no matter, pardon me, no matter their gender, no matter their sexual orientation, race, religion, ethnicity, and so on. What we need to look at are that we are all humans and we all bring something special to this world, and we should all be respected and treated as such. So thank you very much for that, Joseph. I appreciate that. Michelle, will you try to appeal to the farmers and ranchers when you always say, when they always, oh, how will you, I'm sorry, Michelle. I've said it before, the writing on the screen is about this big, and I just can't, I'm getting old. How will you try to appeal to the farmers and ranchers of Texas when they always say we are too liberal for them? Will you focus on country town rights, protecting their land from pollution? Yes, and in all honesty, Michelle, we've already been reaching out to the farmers and ranchers across Texas, West Texas and East Texas, with a heavy emphasis on West Texas. And the way we're actually being able to speak to them and they're actually understanding is that we're talking about their land. We're talking about the lack of water and how we're going to rectify that. We're speaking to them about the trade agreements that we have, even though it's a federal trade agreement, NAFTA, how we as a state can promote NAFTA so that we're working with the federal government to ensure that the man that's in the White House does not do away with NAFTA, or if he tries to renegotiate it, that he doesn't do so in a manner that is detrimental to Texans and to our ranchers and farmers. And also what we're speaking to them about is protecting their land from intrusion of the eminent right domain, trying to put an interstate system through. How can we best work through that so that we're not taking up, more of their land than what would be needed, so that we are being advantageous about when we're looking at, let's say, a high-speed rail system, that we're not barging through the middle of their land with it and causing a disruption to what they do. And in all honesty, Michelle, the farmers and the ranchers are actually listening. And I mean, not all of them, but we're getting more people listening to us now than ever before. And it's exciting to see because they're fed up. They realize that there are, even though in the past they may have been more single issue voters, they're now realizing that they have to look at the broader spectrum of the issues and how it affects them and affects their livelihood. And so that's why they're starting to listen, and that's why they're taking us seriously. And I know that in many ways people go, when I go into these towns, their first question is always, do you know where you are? Because they're usually in very Republican-led counties. And we always say, yes, we know exactly where we are. And that's why we're here. Because we don't feel like you're getting a fair shake. Your children aren't getting the education that they deserve. The healthcare, you're not receiving the healthcare that you need. Aren't you tired of having to drive, 50, 100 miles in order to receive the services that you need? And once we start appealing to them outside of just their immediate front door, front porch type issues, they see that there's a larger world out there where they can relate to, and it's how we speak with them and how we listen. And I believe too that many of them are disenchanted because they're being taken for granted. Their votes being taken for granted. Republicans sit back and go, well, they're going to vote for us, no big deal. And we're actually going out there and having that true discussion with them on how the Democrats can actually help them more in the party that they've actually been loyal to all these years. And so that's what's exciting about that, Michelle. So thank you. Carol, I hope we can meet you in person sometime. Well, Carol, where are you located? Let me know. If you'll put up a comment, I would appreciate that. Because I can tell you when we'll be in your area. But do know that we are actually traveling to all 254 counties multiple times before the general election in November. We do know, and all signs indicate that we will win the primary, and we're very excited about it. And so we've already been to over 50 counties now already, and so we look forward to visiting the other 200 that we haven't been to yet, and revisiting the counties that we've already been to as well. So Carol, if you'll let me know where you're calling from, where you're signing in from, I would appreciate it so I can tell you when we'll be there. Ramon, cannabis laws. Yes, there's two issues with cannabis laws. One is the medical cannabis, and we need to legalize it. A doctor and their patient should be able to make that decision based on, and that should be available. So we need to have medical cannabis lawful in the state of Texas, and let the professional, meaning the doctor and their patient, make that decision. Recreational cannabis, we actually need to legalize it, and we need to then turn around and regulate it and tax it just like we do alcohol. And that's what I'll advocate for. And all taxation from the legalization of recreational cannabis will go towards the funding of education. So, Ron, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. Y'all excuse me for a minute. Alrighty, that's actually a little better now, isn't it? Deborah, can you speak to forced arbitration by employers? In the age of #MeToo, many of us do not have the luxury due to a legal gag order that's been forced upon us. Deborah, thank you so much for that question. I believe that arbitration, when they first set it up, the intent was to hopefully, lessen the amount of time, or to lessen the backlog of courts. Unfortunately, it has turned into a tool in which to control the way a situation is resolved. Arbitration should always be an option, but I do not believe arbitration should be a mandatory option or a mandatory way to get things done. There should be a choice. If both parties agree to arbitration, then yes, it should be available to them. If one party or another does not agree to arbitration, then they should not be forced into taking their case to a mediator or to an arbitration type setting. It's an option, but it should be just that. It should be an option. It should not be a mandatory, you have to do this before you do this. If you believe, or if anyone believes that they should be able to go to court immediately, or file their case immediately with the court system, they should have that option. I do believe that in arbitration sometimes, especially with an employer who is, how should I put this? An employer who is not on the up and up, I'll put it that way. Being forced into arbitration with them, especially when an employee's hands may be tied behind their back, is not the way that we need to handle it. I mean, they need to have that ability to go to court and have their day in court, as they say. So, Deborah, I thank you for that question, and do know that I will advocate that arbitration is not mandatory, although it's still an option, because there are times that arbitration is a good thing, and so it should always be an option. But if both parties don't agree to arbitration, then it shouldn't happen. So, Deborah, thank you very much for that. Thank you for your Joseph. Thank you for your answers from Lubbock, Texas. Wonderful. Joseph, thank you for joining us from Lubbock. Let's see, and welcome everyone that has joined in. Are we still okay on the live feed? Okay, we're still good. So again, thank y'all for joining in. Y'all can ask any questions that you would like to ask. I look forward to always sitting back and speaking with y'all and giving you the answers that you deserve. One question that came up during my one of my meet and greets, I believe one last night, it was the night before, which would be Wednesday. Today's Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have to tell y'all, my days are starting to blend, which is a good thing, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying getting out there and speaking to as many Texans as I can speak with. I believe we have one yard sign left, or are we out?
I'm out.
Oh, we're out. So Christopher, my campaign manager, Lewis will be contacting you. We need more signs.
It's already done.
Oh, he's already done it. So, but we're very happy about that. Let's see. Kelly says, I need Lewis to help make sure I'm registered to vote for you. Yes, you must be registered. Y'all understand, Monday is the cutoff date. If you're not registered by Monday, or it's not postmarked on Monday, you cannot vote March 6th. You'll have to wait till November. So if you need help in registering, you can go online to Secretary of State's office, or you can email Christopher Stinnett. He is my volunteer director, and his email is volunteer, no S, just volunteer, @jeffreyfortexas.com. And again, the 4 is the number 4, not FOR. And if you email him with any questions, he can steer you in the correct direction so that you're able to ensure that you're registered to vote. If you have a question, like let's say you moved and you don't know if you already did it, contact Christopher. He knows how to look people up. He knows how to ensure that you are registered to vote so that on March 6th you can cast your vote. It is very important. As I have said all along, Texas is not a red state. Texas is a non-voting state. And 2018, we don't have a blue wave coming. We have a blue tsunami about to hit us. But it can't happen if you don't get out there and vote. Your vote is your voice. And your voice is not heard when you stay at home and don't vote. It doesn't take long to vote. If you're able to, vote early. That you avoid what could potentially be long lines on March 6th. So vote early. I know that in one of my businesses, after they finish cleanup, we always have to do cleanup on that Tuesday, which is the 20th, I believe. They're all loading up after cleanup, and they're all going to vote. And that's what we have to do. Get your friends, call them, text them, email them, Call them again, text them again, pick them up if they don't have transportation, take them to the polls, make sure that they vote, and vote early. You can avoid a lot of potential headaches on March 6th, waiting in line for hours. Pardon me. Terry says, I'm registered. Yay. Thank you, Terry. Chess, yes, it's JeffreyForTexas.com. Thank you for putting that up there. Christopher Stinnett actually, put up that early voting is from February 20th until March 2nd. And then March 6th is the day to primary. It's the last day. Pardon me. They told me here in Hondo, the allergies are cedar and mold. So I'm getting a double hit here in Hondo. But I do have a doctor appointment to go get my allergy shot. Let's see. Deborah said, we don't register by party, and we don't. We just register to vote. You select your party in the primary when you show up, and they ask you, Democrat, Republican. That depends on which ballot you get. The only way we know that you're a Democrat or a Republican is, like Deborah was saying, when you show up. So to vote. So please show up to vote. When you register, you're not registering a party. You're only registering that you're going to go vote. When you go to vote in the primary, that's when we know what party you're affiliated with. So make sure you get out there and you vote. Every county, just so y'all know, 9 of us are running for governor. Every county is different. They have what they call a lottery or a drawing to see what order all the candidates are going to be in. So in Dallas, I'm 6th on the ballot under governor. In some counties, I'm 1st. Some counties, I'm 9th. So don't, if you're in different counties, you have to look up where we're going to be on the ballot. I think I'm also 6th in Tarrant County. Either 4th or 6th, I can't remember. But Hill County, I'm 1st. It's a random drawing that they do. So make sure that when you go in, you look for Jeffrey Payne and you vote Jeffrey Payne. I would appreciate it. Thank you. But Deborah, you are correct. We don't register people by party. You're just registering to vote, and then you select your party when you go to the primary. So ask for the Democratic ballot, because there are 2 ballots, Republican and Democrat. So thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. Kevin, thank you for joining us. I hope everything's good in Canton. We'll actually be in Canton soon. Monday. We'll be in Canton on Monday. Hopefully we'll be able to see you. David, thank you for joining us. Shannon as well. Thank you for joining. And again, any questions you may have, feel free to ask, or you can send it to AskJeffrey at JeffreyForTexas.com. And so we have part of the last group that was here in Honda. Thank you. Take care. They're just now leaving. So what are your views? Matthew, what? Throw that one out there at me. Actually, we're gathering information on that, and I appreciate Karen. Oh, okay. I want to find out more about this group, and I actually have my policy and my communication director both working on that as we look into exactly who this group is. My before I go, to be honest with you, before I say any, I know which way I'm leaning, but before I make a public statement on it, because we are making a public statement on many things in the next week or two, on many issues, not policy, but just things like what you're speaking about, Matthew. And so before I actually make a full-throated comment about it, let me get the final details. They're supposed to have that to me by Sunday, so that I can read up on it and make sure that I give a full. I want to make sure that all my facts are lined up and that I can back up exactly what I'm saying when I say it. I think that's very important, and I do apologize, Matthew. I'm not going to answer that right now, but I will answer it next Friday, and also we will send out a release on. There's a lot of topics that, especially things like this, I want to make sure that when I make a full-throated negative or positive comment, that I have all the facts behind me to back it up. So I don't know why Lewis is laughing at me. Oh, he's not laughing at me. He saw something else. Okay. Yes, Kara, I am going to be everywhere. But Matthew, I will get back with you on that because I want the data to prove what I'm saying is correct. And so I can actually refer everyone else to the same data so that they understand exactly where I'm coming from. Christopher, also make sure where the parties are voting. I know some Dallas precincts, Sims and Republicans vote in different locations. Oh, Christopher, I didn't even know that. I thought you could go to any early voting place and vote. I was not aware of that. Thank you, Christopher. Maybe what we should do is get a list of the Democrats who are voting, especially if it's different from Republicans. I was not aware of that, so thank you, Christopher. We need to look more into that because I don't want people going to a precinct that's a Republican only. I find that odd that they would do that, but welcome to Texas politics. Oh, you were smiling because you wanted me to smile. Okay. Okay. Sometimes I get so into my thought process. Lewis has to remind me to smile. So it's not that I'm unhappy. I'm really happy today. I'm having a great day. I've had my coffee and everything. So, I'll start smiling more. So, but y'all feel free to ask me anything. And, I'm one of those, I will be upfront with you. I am one of those that if you ask me a question and I don't know anything about it or I'm still researching it, I'm going to tell you. I'm not one that's going to BS his way through an answer and circle a wagon and never answer the question. Sometimes I have to do my research, and I believe that's very important. And it should be an expectation of any candidate that if they don't know something or they're still investigating or they're still not ready to quite put their statement on the line, they should be able to admit it. And, frankly, I find that quite refreshing of anyone that's running for office. So I appreciate that. Last night, I will say, we were driving from Livingston to San Marcos, and we did like a 1 hour live video, 45 minutes to an hour live video. It was a get to know Jeffrey hour. And I was asked like what my favorite movie was, what my favorite color was. I'm trying to think of the other questions. Oh, I was asked about the puppies, like why I adopt or rescue dogs. It was actually very entertaining. I'll be honest with you. I don't know of any other candidate that gets out there and says, "Ask me anything personal, and I'll tell you."
Yeah.
So it was actually a fun little time, and considering we had a 3.5 hour ride, it was nice to for Lewis and I to actually speak with other people. I love Lewis to death. He is the best field director in the world, but I have been stuck in a car with him for months now, and we just needed But thank y'all for joining me today. And again, feel free to ask any question that you may have. Oh, there it is. Okay. It stopped moving up. Okay, here we go. Gerrymandering. Deborah is asking, gerrymandering, is there hope? Yes, there is hope. Well, there's hope if I get into office. With our current administration, I would say no, there is no hope. When it comes to gerrymandering, we're about to do our census in 2020. We do it every 10 years, and we will more than likely pick up 3 extra seats in the House. Because of that, when it comes to gerrymandering, we actually need to look at Pennsylvania and Oregon, I believe it's the other state, that actually handed over to a non-partisan group to decide where the lines are drawn, rather than the party that's in power making that decision. We need to turn it over to a nonpartisan group, because Democrats will one day be in control again. And when they were in control before, they were just as guilty. So what we need to do is make sure that a nonpartisan group is actually putting it together, so that we have fair representation, because I believe that the voters should be choosing their elected officials, not elected officials choosing their voters. And so we can actually fix that issue with gerrymandering. But if we have Abbott in office, it ain't gonna happen. And the census is going to happen during the next term. So we need to make sure that Abbott is out of there so that we can start having fair representation. So Deborah, thank you very much for that. And that's what I will advocate for. It's worked out wonderfully in Pennsylvania and Oregon. I believe California is even looking into it. But it's about time we have fair representation, and not what we currently have now. Matthew, we know you're not Greg Abbott. No, I'm not Greg Abbott. So will you include women when it comes to decisions about we actually put out a poster about that. The panels that are put together to make decisions about women and their bodies currently are basically just men only, and that will stop. If you're going to make a decision about how a woman makes decisions about her body, I believe that if you don't have women vested in the decision making, then what are you doing? I mean, of course they need to be involved. When you're making decisions that would affect, let's say, the Black community or the Hispanic community, they need to be in on that discussion, wholeheartedly in on that discussion. And men-only panels, they need to stop when it comes to making decisions about a woman and her body and the decisions she makes and the access she has and the health care she receives. It's just that is so, I feel like we're going back to the 1950s some days. And that is not who we are as a state. That is not who we are as Democrats. And so to answer your question quickly, yes, women will not only be asked for their opinion and asked for their input, they will actually be on the committees and serving on the committees and be a majority part of the conversation will be from women when it comes to women and women's rights. So yes, Matthew, thank you for that question. Men should never make decisions about a woman's body. Yes, I agree. And it just amazes me that we have men-only panels making decisions about women and their rights. It baffles me. And that's why, I mean, since July, we have been touting and we have been saying common sense needs to be brought back to government. Sanity needs to be brought back to state government. Now other candidates are all saying it. Yesterday, I was at the Houston Chronicle, and every candidate along the line said, "Oh, we need common sense. We need common sense." And I was like, "Well, I've been saying that since July. Glad you're on board." However, it's just common sense when we look at, in this case, when you're speaking about women's rights, women need to be not just in the conversation, they need to be steering that conversation. They need to be the majority of that conversation. And that's what I will advocate for. But I appreciate y'all so much for asking that. And thank you, everyone who has joined us. Terry says, common sense isn't so common. No, it's not, especially in our current state government. So I will bring that back. That is just, sometimes things are obvious. Let's look at the maternal mortality rate. Highest in the nation, same as in third world countries. We yanked healthcare and access to healthcare from women, and then the maternal mortality rate skyrocketed. So our governor, sorry y'all, I was tapping on the table, gets my blood pressure going. The governor decided to put a committee together, to figure out why maternal mortality had gone awry. Common sense would tell you that when you take access to healthcare away from women, that it's going to go to hell in a handbasket. That's just common sense. But he forms the committee, and he's already dismantled the committee, just so y'all know. It's not rocket science, and that's what I don't understand. We're spending all this money on a committee. Why? Just refund and give women the care they need. Provide the access. Provide what women need, and get this under control. And when you take that away, of course it's going to go to hell. Teen pregnancy is up. Can't imagine why. We took access to birth control. We took access to sex education. We took it all away. Just took it all away. And now no one can understand why teen pregnancy is skyrocketing. Common sense. So, thank you. Women's health at all times in her life. My mom was on Medicare, is denied wellness women exams as though she's yes, and on the Medicare plan, because that's a federal program. What we need is a governor who's going to go up to DC, bang on some doors, not just of our reps and our senators, but other senators from other states and other representatives. And if they need to, not just bang on doors, but bang on some heads to allow women the access they need from birth until they pass. Limiting access to healthcare, for this instance, whether it's for a woman, whether it's for anyone, anytime we limit healthcare, and we don't allow doctors to do what they are trained to do, we are actually, I don't know why I'm being so introspective today. We are actually doing a huge disservice, and that's an understatement, to the citizens of Texas, and actually to every citizen of the United States for that matter. And what we need to do is ensure that healthcare is accessible, that proper healthcare is accessible, as well as affordable. You know, technically right now, everyone has access to healthcare. They're using the ER for that. And it's an enormous cost, and it's an enormous burden on our financial situation as a state. So if we provide the health care on the front end, which is accessible and affordable to all citizens of Texas, then we are eliminating the after effect of those who are using the ER as a general practitioner. So let's provide healthcare on the front end, not on the back end. And let's be proactive in our government and our decision making and not reactive. Currently, and not just currently, for years now, we've been a reactionary government in Texas. Something happens, we react. And then when we are taking actions, where we are proactive, it's on issues that don't even matter, like where someone's going to sit on a toilet or which tree to cut down. We're being proactive about that, but we're not being proactive about the homeless issue. We're not being proactive about healthcare. We're not being proactive about women's rights. We're not being proactive about education. We're worried about a toilet. I mean, okay. If you want a governor who's going to look at the actual issues that face us, that affect our daily lives, affect our careers and our jobs, I'm your man. I'm not going to waste time on stupid legislation just to appeal to a base that's just ignorant to do that. So, thank you. Let's see. Chess, infant mortality rate in Texas is the highest since the last oral should be checked. Yes, I agree. But when you take access away, of course it's going to go to hell in a handbasket. C wants to know where you stand on church and state relations, separation of church and state. How much control should churches be able to inject into the public welfare? When it comes to church and state, I do believe in a true separation of church and state. Now, if a church wants to, on their own, assist individuals, whether it be with housing or food or clothing or anything, that's their prerogative. But it won't be state-sponsored. I believe that the state has its programs, and if the church wants to have their own program, they can fund it and do it themselves. But we need to make sure that we always have separation of church and state. I do not believe that the government or the state should govern to one religion and then to the absence of the others. That's, it's, I'm a God-loving Methodist, believe me, y'all, I'm a Methodist. But my guiding principles in my personal life are based on that. But when you're making decisions on the government side, you base them on what is right for all Texans, no matter what religion I may be or you may be. We need to make sure that we're tearing down walls and not building. And so I do believe in the separation of church and state. So let's see. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. A question. Do you think you have what it takes to fight Greg Abbott? Don't mean money, but the strength to fight long term. Barbara, I will say it like this. Hell yes. We've been going at this now since July. I have no intention of slowing down, no matter what my voice decides to do. If I have to do interpretive dance in order to get y'all to understand where I stand on policy, it won't be pretty, but I will do it. We have the infrastructure as far as the campaign, the staffing, the volunteers. We have all of that. We have the policies. We have the solutions. I personally have the energy and the health, pardon me, to get it done. as I cough. But this is all allergies, y'all. The one good thing about my doctor, my general practitioner, my GP, when I told him I was going to run for governor, he said, "That's fine." He goes, "And I support you," and he's voting for me. He goes, "But I'll only let you do it if you do one thing. You have to come see me every 30 days. And he goes, "Because you're not running for city council where your area is quite small." He goes, "You're in the state of Texas, and I want to make sure that we check everything. Even though you're very healthy right now, you're going to not sleep as well. You're going to be tired. You're going to be running from this city to this city. I want to make sure that we monitor your vitals just to make sure you're okay." And I agreed to that. And the last caveat to that was, he goes, "And if I don't see you once a month, I'm calling your husband." No, I never want anyone to call my husband and tattle on me. So because of that, I'm healthy. But I also have the mental fight and the emotional fight to get all the way to November 6th and to win. And we have a plan to victory. And that's the one question a lot of people don't ask. They don't ask about the campaign itself, the infrastructure, the plan to victory, what you're going to do. They just go, "Oh, well, I know you," or, "Oh, I don't, I've heard of them. I'll vote for them." Not knowing if they have the fight and the guts to get out there and actually take Greg Abbott on. And I have that fight. And so much that I don't have to fight to just go after him. I have to fight to go after him and win, with your help to win. And and I think that's the essence of your question. Do I have the internal strength? I did cover the physical, where I'm fine, but internally, I have that fight. I have the mental strength, and I have just that fire. We've said this since July. No one had to convince me to run. No one came knocking on my door and, "Jeffrey, we'd really like you to run." This was something that took a year of discussion between my husband and I before we made that decision. We knew what it was going to take. My husband, Sergio, is my biggest fan. And he actually said, "You have it in you." He goes, "I know you. I've known you for 5-6 years now. You have it in you. And I'll be there to support you." And so we're going there. And we're very excited. I truly am. And yes, there are moments I am tired. I'll be honest with you. I get tired. I don't get enough sleep. I'm trying to read this policy or tweak this policy or learn more about a situation that may have come up. And by doing that, I don't get much sleep, but I'm in it. I'm in this to go all the way. I'm in this to take it to Abbott. And you know what? He may have $43 million. That's fine. You don't need $43 million to run a successful gubernatorial candidacy in Texas. You just don't. Campaign is being funded right now by individuals in Texas. No PAC money, no super PAC money, no special interest money. We are being supported by you. $5 here, $30 here, $100 here. That's what it's going to take, because it's time Texans took government back. And with me, you have a voice. And that's what we've been missing. Only the 1% have a voice right now. And we need to change that. Thank you for that question, Barbara. Is there somewhere on your Facebook page that I can give money to your campaign? Don't have a lot, but believe in you. Well, Joe, thank you. From Houston. Actually, it's not on Facebook, but if you go to our website, www.jeffreyfortexas.com, I believe it's in the upper right-hand corner. Christopher, if you'll let me know if I'm wrong on that. But it says contribute. It says contribute, you can contribute there. And in all honesty, Joe, whether it's $1 or whether it's $100 or whether it's $1,000, every little bit gets us a little further down the road. And I truly appreciate your support. I truly do. Never wants to know, where do you stand on limits on personal injury lawsuits? Tell you where I stand. A jury needs to decide the limit on personal injury lawsuits. The tort reform, didn't agree with it. Still don't agree with it. You took the ability of some of these cases aren't being taken by attorneys because they realize it's going to cost more than they're ever going to get in return. It's going to cost more to try the case than the limits that they set up. And that's horrid. We should be able, a person should be able to sue and without the restrictions in place. I will advocate to redo tort reform, believe me. I'm going to drink more water, y'all. I don't mean to be rude, but my voice is really giving out on me today. Let's see. Can I borrow a pen and piece of paper? I'm going to... Oh, okay. Christopher says that these are coming in from emails. Oh, that's wonderful. Christopher Sinnett, he's my volunteer director, and he's actually getting them from the emails. So thank y'all for emailing. You can email AskJeffrey at jeffrey4texas.com. So thank you, Christopher, for pulling those over. Julia in Hillsborough wants to know what you bring that would allow you to bridge the gap across the aisle in the State House. Yes. Julia, thank you so much for asking that question. When I was in Louisiana, I was with the Department of Labor, and I was actually a mediator. And let me tell you, I tried some very I mediated some very, what do you call them, interesting cases where people are coming in. There are two sides, one side on my left, one side on my right, and I'm in the middle, and they're very unhappy. Let me tell you, these people are unhappy. Both sides. One's upset because they might get sued. The other's upset because they're doing the suing because they thought they were done wrong. What's wonderful is, as a mediator, you become very skilled, and I was actually through the Justice Center in Atlanta. That's where I received my mediation skills. But you have parties that don't like each other, and you're bringing them together, and you first find common ground. We all have common ground somewhere. Sometimes you got to dig for it, but you got to find it. But from that common ground, then you bring and you put building blocks on top of it, so that what you're eventually doing is narrowing it down so that you come to a resolution to what the real issue is. That's what we need in government. Someone that finds the common ground between two factions that don't agree on an issue, but let's find our common ground. And then from that, we have building blocks to get. But if no one starts that conversation, it ain't ever going to happen. We're just going to have a bunch of angry people running around. And that's what we currently have, a bunch of angry people running around the State House. I mean, I think it was either the special session, may not have been the special, may have been the regular session last year. They had a brawl down in the legislature. These are adults, but tensions are so high because no one will just say, you know what, let's bring everyone in. Everyone deserves a place at the table. You may not get what you want at the end, but you deserve to be heard. All representatives, all senators, they must be heard. So you bring them in, and you have that discussion with them, and you find that common ground. No one party, at the end of the day, has all the solutions, but together, and that's what government's supposed to do. We're supposed to bring everyone together to find a resolution by working together. As a mediator, I am someone that has those skills, and they're highly developed skills of bringing people together who are not happy with one another, but we can bring to resolution. And at the end of the day, too, as governor, I have veto power. I also have line item veto. So if they try to slip something in there, I have a veto pen. So, and I will use it. I'm not afraid to use it. But what I'm hoping for is I don't have to use it often, because we've actually come together in a spirit of doing what's right for Texas. Now, I will say this, and hear me loud and clear. There are certain things I will not budge on. If anything comes across my desk that limits a woman's ability to make decisions about her body, it's going to get vetoed. If I have the voucher system across my desk, it will be vetoed immediately. Voucher system as it pertains to education. Anything that is discriminatory that comes across my desk will be vetoed immediately. There are some things I am not going to budge on. But when we're looking for a solution for education, there are other things we can do. There are other things that we can come together and decide upon in order to make education world class, rather than we're going, I don't know where we're going. We're going down. 4 years ago, Abbott in the debate said he was going to make education number one. He must be number one on the worst list, because that's where we're headed. We're number 41 to 43, depending on which study you look at, but it's not number one. So we will work together in order to create a system, an educational system, which is fair. And I believe that my policies and my solutions are what we need in order to make that move forward with our educational system. But I do want to let everyone know that even when you're mediating, you can still have hard stops that you're not going to budge on. And I do. I'm not going to budge and limit a woman's ability to make that decision about what she does with her body. I'm not going to budge on the voucher system. I'm not going to budge on those hard stops, what I call hard stop. No, I'm not going past this. We can talk about these things over here, but on these things, I'm not budging, because they're fundamentally, I'm either against them or I'm fundamentally for them. And anything that discriminates or limits someone's ability to live their life, I'm not going to do it. Just not. But as a mediator, you have to still listen to the other side. And a lot of times people just want to be heard. They may know they're not going to get what they want, but they at least want to be heard. And I'm someone that can listen. And isn't it funny that someone who is hard of hearing can listen better than our current governor, who doesn't have a hard of hearing issue? Think about it. All righty. Let's see. Julian wants to know what you bring. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry. Will you do a state of Texas address? Oh, yes. And I'm going to do more than that. You know, how many times have we had someone running for office and they're all over your front door? They're banging on your door. They're mailing you stuff. They're calling you incessantly. The way I'm doing it is, and we're going to go a little over today, a couple of minutes over, just so y'all know, because I already see I only have a minute and a half left. So I'm going to go a couple of minutes over, because I do want to answer Matthew's question. The travel that I'm doing now, town hall meetings, community forums, Facebook. I just lost my, when you do the, when you meet with the press, Sarah Huckabee Sanders does them. Why did I just blank? Okay, I just blanked. Sorry, y'all. But when you get up and you speak to the press, why? Okay, I feel stupid right now. Those type things I will continue to do. Now, will I travel every single day? No. But I will hold town hall meetings in the rural areas and the larger cities. Lewis doesn't know it yet, but he'll still be doing the same job just from the Capitol.
Press briefings is what it is.
A press release?
Press briefings.
Oh, press briefing. Thank you.
Christopher Stinnett helps us.
Thank you, Christopher. Understand that I will always communicate, even when I know that I'm going to be walking into a meet and greet or a town hall meeting, and there's some angry folks up in there. I'm still going to show up. Unlike our current politicians, who either don't have them or cancel them because they don't want to be yelled at. I work for you. Government is supposed to work for you. So I still have to get out there and find out what you need, what you want. Hold my feet to the fire. Y'all have heard me. Some of you for the first time today, some of you have heard me since last July. Hold my feet to the fire. Say, no, Jeffrey, you were going to advocate for this, and yet now you're not advocating for this. What happened? What changed? So either I can explain myself or go, oops, sorry, I need to go back and redo what I was doing. Hold my feet to the fire. Tell me a single politician that says that and actually means it. You're not going to find it. And the reason is because they get into politics, it's a career move, and suddenly they need money in their campaign fund. And so they're selling their soul or anything else they can do in order to make their life easier, make their life better. And I want to be your governor, not because I want to make my life better. I want to get into government because I want to make your life better. And I'm not beholden to special interests. I'm not beholden to the big donors with PAC money. I'm here for you. And if you want someone that's there for you, then I'm your man to vote for. Let's see. You know, Matt, that's a good question about reaching out to Republican citizens as well. And we're actually already doing it. And that's what's incredible. When we reach out, now there are some diehard Republicans, and they're not going to listen to me. I don't care if I promised them $1 million. I don't think they'd listen to me. But there are some Republicans and some individuals, independents, Green Party, libertarians, who are listening, who want to listen. They feel disenfranchised from their own party. They feel that their party has left them behind because they've gone too extreme. And so they're listening to us. And that's what's important. They're already showing up at our rallies. They're already showing up to listen. They're already, and we've been reaching out to them, Matthew, so that if I'm going to represent all Texans, I can't ignore a certain part of the population. Now, I may extend the olive branch and they may take it and hit me with it, but at least I extended that olive branch, and that's what we're doing, and we are actively doing that, not just on social media, but in person. And understand, too, we're in the reddest of red counties, and we stop for gasoline. I mean, this is how intense we are. Lewis is pumping the gas, and I'm going inside and meeting people. And sometimes people will look at me and say, do you know where you are? And I'm like, well aware. I'm still here. And that impresses more people than not. So Matthew, thank you for that. And Kara just said press conferences. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you. I don't know why I went blank on that. Thank you for joining us today. I have been out on 4 minutes over, and I do apologize for holding y'all up. I want you to know that I thoroughly enjoy these times with y'all. We're not able, as much travel as we do. We're doing 2 or 3 events a day. it's impossible in a state the size of Texas to hit every single little town and every single village or whatever it may be. But we are doing everything we can to get out there. I believe y'all see that. Y'all see my dedication and know that it's not just during the campaign season. It's not just during this time that you're going to get that. You're going to get that as your governor. Someone who is vested in you and wants government to actually work for you, not against you. And so I cannot wait to work for you as your governor. And I appreciate all of your support. And we'll be doing another one this evening, but it's an impromptu, just to wrap up the day kind of thing. But I want to say thank you to each of you for your support. Even if you don't support me, but you're at least tuning in to find out more. An educated voter is what we need, and we need more of you. So thank you for tuning in. If nothing else, just learn more about where we stand. And it has been an incredible journey. But I'll be honest with you, we're just getting started. This is going to be a journey like no other. And I'm glad that each of you are on that journey with me. And I'm glad Texas will be on that journey with me. So again, thank you. I will see all of you this evening. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful Friday. Be safe this weekend. It's supposed to get warm again. Yay. And I can't wait to go get my allergy shot. So thank y'all again. Y'all have a great weekend. And I will speak with all of you very, very soon. Bye, y'all.